Dun, dun, dun. The Siege of Cair Andros, the two-player progression series in Pandem's playthroughs. Welcome to the third quest of the Heirs of Numenor. Now, this is a challenging quest, and we're going to work through this together. 1A, the defense. The island fortress of Cair Andros, which guards Gondor's northmost causeways over the river Anórien, is under siege. Battering rams rumble up the eastern causeway, and rafts filled with orcs flood across the river towards the lightly defended northern banks. Add the 3 areas to the staging area. The 1B, 9 quest points. The assault is relentless, and the defenders are growing weary. The tide is slowly but surely turning against you. Siege quest, and players must deal damage from undefended attacks to the lowest threat battleground in play. If there are no battlegrounds in play, progress the quest. Now we have 3 allocations in the staging area. The banks here, 1 threat, 3 quest points, Cair Andros battleground. If it has 3 or more damage, remove it from play. If you do clear it, remove stage 2A. You can see here the approach. 2 threat, 7 quest points. If it has 7 more damage, remove it from the game. If you clear it, remove quest 3A, the Citadel 3 and 11, and if it has 11 or more damage, remove it from play, but if you clear it, remove quest 4 from the deck and victory display. Now, each of them have victory points. Based on how many you clear, you'll get a different result in stage 5. Here we're going for a Gondor themed deck here, not just a quest, but so we've got Gimli, 11, 2, 2 with 5 health, and he gets a damage for each hit point he takes. Legolas, 9, 1, 3, 1, 4 health, noble sylvan warrior with ranged, and when he gets a kill, we praise 2 progress on the quest. Supporting the Gondor team here, we've got Beregond, captain of the Citadel, 10, 0, 1, 4, 4, and he gets attachments for 2 points cheaper, which is nice. Now, I have Elrond here. He's leadership law 13, 3, 2, 3, 4, Nold or Noble, and he can spend points for allies from any sphere. And if he's healing, he get healed for 1 extra. Denethor we've seen before, 8, 1, 1, 3, and then we got Faramir as well. Now Faramir is great because he's 2, 2, 2, 11 with 5 health, and he has ranged. And he gets a +1 attack for each enemy in the staging area. Given this quest asks a lot of us from attacking, defending, questing, and questing of different types, so siege or battle, or normal, this is handy. Good stat line there. I've gone for a Gondor themed deck, not just using all heroes from the cycle here, because I thought I've played this thing 11 times and haven't got it right, so let's try and get this going. Alright, so high threat here, but we've got some threat management pieces. This quest is going to be exciting. It's an hour long, so get strapped in, get yourself a cup of tea, and let's do this, because this is an epic quest. The goal of this deck here is to find Vilya in the Elrond deck, and Vilya lets you put the top card of the deck into play. Using things like Imladra Stargazer or Gildor, I can look at my card or manipulate my top decks. The Eagles deck on the tactic side, I'm looking for Eagles, I'm looking for attachments, looking to be able to defend and get Gimli up and running quickly and early. So Citadel play, Eagles here, and then the Eagles are coming, lets me search top 5 cards and put all Eagles into my hand. Super way of drawing out cards there. With the Horn of Gondor, I can increase my my resources. That's the thought process. So there, Imladra Stargazer, put that into play, lets me do certain things, look at the top 5 cards in any order, which means I can control what comes next with Vilya, then play Vilya and get it out for free. So Unexpected Courage is handy. That being in my hand is good. I can play that when I get the song on Elrond or whomever, which is good. I look at this and go, you know what? The hand's good, but it could be better. I'm willing to sacrifice things like Stargazer. I need Vilya or I need Master of the Forge. Master of the Forge is there to pull up Vilya, lets you search cards for attachments. Like, I need this deck to hinge on that. There is a encounter card or encounter card in this deck. I think it's the War Party from memory. And the War Party is, let me find the card. It is the Siege Raft Mummak. There it is. It is called Orc Vanguard, and it's a staging area. You cannot play. Resources can't be spent from leadership, spirit, or lore pools. Right? So that makes it tricky there. Yeah, Light of Valinor, Henamath River Song, got Burning Brand, which helps me defend. I've got Unexpected Courage again, and another Magic Stargazer. Look, it's a better hand. The brand puts on Denethor, which may cancel the shadows in this scenario, which stops the shadow chains. Right, this is a big scenario where if you draw another card or deal this attack to shadow cards or additional shadow cards, and the trick of this one here is by dealing additional shadow cards, all of a sudden attack that's 2 defended by Beregond becomes an 8 damage attack and Beregond's dead. Or something you could take on a hero for a jump block becomes a dead hero. So, all right. So I'm going to play Horn of Gondor onto Legolas. Beregond gets cheap weapons and armor cheaper for 2. So Spear of the Citadel goes on to Beregond for free. I've got top 5 cards here for eagles, and there is 1 eagle in my deck. Okay, 1 eagle in my hand, so it goes in my hand. Right, not too bad. It's nice to get some cheap, eagles into play. From that way, if I can find a couple of eagles in my hand early, that's good. Things like grabbing out Vassal of the Windlord or Wind Guardian that have 1 or 2 costs each make it a bit easier. That's okay. We're going to have some eagles supporting us pretty heavily here in this deck. Albeit mine now, there is a whole section of this deck from about the 15-minute mark where we go 2 times speed because there is 5 rounds where I have an Orc Vanguard in the staging area and it's tough, right? So we'll go a bit faster. So don't stress. This is going to be a wild ride. All right, so I got some eagles here. I'm going to play Vassal, the Windlord here. Not ideal because we're siege questing. We're looking to use defenses here, so I've got to make choices. Getting like, I've got Denethor, Elrond, and Beregond giving me pieces here, and this is where I realise I can't actually pay for Citadel Plate. I'm like, oh yeah, I play Citadel Plate. And I'm like, no, what am I doing? Like, no, it's not -2 for everyone. It's -2 for Beregond. So I put that back and played the eagles. But the goal here is that I need to make choices here of like who quests. So Beregond's going to quest. Elrond's going to quest. Eventually, Elrond will quest with Light of Valinor when he can play Light of Valinor. Can't just yet because he can't play spirit cards. He can play spirit other sphere allies until he gets his song on him or his ring. And so yeah, it's one of those things where it's this deck is a little like once it ramps, it goes well, but it's impeded by this scenario. So that's okay. We'll get there. But you can see the 3 defense on Denethor, 3 defense on Elrond, 4 defense on Beregond. Lets me quest quite hard, even 2 from Faramir. But I've got to be careful because I've got high threat. I'm going to engage things early, so I need a chump block. And at the moment, taking undefended damage on my heroes goes to the battlegrounds. So you make a choice. Do I commit to this quest and just barrel through it? Do I try and clear the battlegrounds and take a couple of stages out? Or do I just go the long haul and take everything, right? And so this is where I'm like, oh, I don't know what to do. And you can see, all right, cool. We're going to Orc Vanguard here. So we're going to deal with that there. Orc Vanguard comes out. So Orc Vanguard is one of those cards that reads, it's 40 threat, 2 shadow, 8 attack, 3 defense, and whilst in a staging area, you can't play anything but tactics resources. Orc Scramblers come out, which is a surge, so it's not really bad, but when a battleground in play, it'll take a damage from Orc Scramblers, and then it surges into a battering ram, and battering ram is doomed 2, and when revealed, if the active location is battleground, deal 3 damage to it. Now, there's no active location yet, which is handy, but it's pretty spicy given the fact that we previously had issues with dealing with location damage. If you're trying to clear these big locations, you want to go for the banks first, get it out of the way. You want things that do location control, or things like Asphalloth that will put progress on a active location. Things like Northern Tracker that will clear. You just need location control, but you can't be running a pure spirit deck with the amount of enemies as well, which is tricky. All right, so let's count all this up. I'm going to travel to the next location, and I can see here that I am making progress and that's okay. So I've done that there. So cool, make 3 progress. And then we're going to deal with some enemies here because the scrambles are going to come out. We're seeing at 32 and 32, what's it called? threat, so we're not going to see anyone but these scramblers come out. But I need to deal with them, right? And so here I've realised, hang on, I've just taken out the scramblers. And I've got no way to defend against them. So I've just got to accept the fact that this could be dangerous for me. So here, against the Vassal Windlord, you can see here that you can see the surge chains occurring now. Grab the next, so deal 2 extra shadow cards. You can see it's deal damage to a battleground in play, or add damage to it there. Deal another card to there. So you can see all of a sudden that my Vassal of the Windlord is getting absolutely caked. 2, 4, so all of a sudden it's doing 10 damage from his attack. And so things go against the active location, or if the banks is in play, deal 2 damage, right? So you can see very quickly I'm losing locations. So immediately, scenario 2, quest 2A and 2B is removed from play. So again, next one I'll go to, rephrase that. I cannot remove 2A or 2B from play anymore. So now I have to do that scenario. So like it becomes a fine balancing act. Orc Arbalasts there, so there's an extra damage there, so it was 4, and that's going against undefended against Faramir, which Faramir will be pretty wounded for the rest of the game. I did not find much healing in my deck, even though I've got Warden of Gondor and a few other things to help heal, because they're amplified by Elrond. Anyway, let's keep going with this one. This is a fun game. So I believe here I've got my, what's it called? My quest point's not quite right. Looking at what I committed for, 5, 8, 10, 4, 7, 10, 12. Should be 12, so I should make 1 progress on 3. Doesn't matter. Got over quest in another phase later. So which is fine. Range attack here. So range attacked by Legolas kills someone, which is fantastic. Legolas doing 3 damage into that there, which is good. And then Gimli here. There's no need for Gimli to attack here because he's not going to, at this stage, currently do damage against the battering ram. Hasty Stroke gets drawn up, and another Eagle, which is great. Spent a little time preparing my board state. This is not as fast of a ramp that I wanted. I didn't get much card draw or anything like that. So I got to deal with this here. Right, so Sigil Plate becomes a viable choice here. So I put that on Gimli. The idea is to get Gimli hitting hard, right? And if he has 9 hit points, you can do +8 and he's hitting for 10, which we start building Gimli up. Right? I haven't played many decks that just beef one hero up too much. Elrond gets a little bit beefy tonight, but yeah, we'll see how we go on this one. All right, so I'm umming and ahhing over what to do here. The challenge with this is that there's so many options about what I want to do and how I want to play it. I need that ring. Whatever I do, I need the ring for Elrond. I need Vilya. And like you normally would mulligan into Vilya or get Vilya on the first turn or get a Master of the Forge, draw something up, and I'm stuck. I'm also stuck for the fact that Orc Vanguard is in play and I can't play anything from that lore hand. I only play things from tactics, so I need to clear it. Now, this is now we're entering 2 speed as of about now. And so you see my hand start twitch first and go a bit faster. Now, if you want to slow it down, by all means, but we're going to go through this because about 5 minutes of double speed here, just to go through a few monotonous rounds of my attempts to clear out Orc Vanguard. So we pull one of the Power of Mordor here, and the Might of Mordor, I think it's called. And it's the one where it says each player chooses a sphere, and anyone who's not part of that sphere takes 3 damage. Now, I've played this card wrong for years. I essentially would pick a sphere, and then I'd pick tactics and do 3 damage on my lore heroes. That's incorrect. It reads, each player chooses 1 sphere of influence, and with one of the colours: leadership, tactics, spirit, or lore. Each character belonging to that, belonging to a player controls that does not belong to his chosen sphere takes 3 damage. And I was playing that wrong for so long. So you can see here, I'm okay. So it means if I had like the Stargazer out, Stargazer goes, because I would have chosen lore, and tactics would have been anyone else that's not tactics, which is good. So I take some damage here. I questing, I am attacking here, I'm defending, and away we go. So you can see there that the damage here is done. Now, Legolas takes the attack there against Orc Rabble. Orc Rabble does three, does 3 damage, but the one's done by the shield, and away we go. So we're getting up bigger here. We're getting it's got attack on Gimli defended, by the way, so he means he could absorb some of the damage, knowing that the battering ram is going to hit him and hit him hard, and therefore he's taking damage. If I get undefended, it goes against the approach, or the citadel, which we don't want. All right, so some eagles out now. We can still can't play anything in the law hand. This is why we're speeding it up. It's almost like a one-handed game with double the draw, because at the moment, other than some basic questing, Elrond and Denethor aren't doing too much. Faramir with some range is nice, and he gets +1 attack currently because of the vanguard in the staging area. So we have 2 enemies engaged with us. I've got to be careful of how much I commit on this side. Now, ideally, Beregond is going to defend here and knock the rabble out in one go, right? Which is cool. So I send along the Winged Guardian, has 4, which is nice. It makes it a little bit easier. And this is the one where I play Scourge of Mordor, which lets you draw a card from the top of my pile, and you add the value together, and that's the difference in the progress. So sometimes you can get a nice 2 or 3 threat versus a lot more. Scramblers. Scramblers now surge, or surge now into a Haradrim Archer. So the scramblers are coming out, and it's getting tough, right? So I have to take one on that side there. I'm taking the naturally coming out the archers, and it's becoming a how do I deal with this here? Because essentially what's happening here is I'm going to take archery damage now. So I have this Southern Mercenaries do archery damage to Gimli, which is nice to buff him a little bit more. So Gimli is currently on 7 wounds of 9, right? And I draw my shadow cards. I'm going to deal with it. So Beregond is going to defend the one on 2 health. The Spear of the Citadel does a damage back to him and kills it before the shadow cards are revealed. Cool. This one's going to be the Vassal of the Windlord. We see the Mordor person go, which is fantastic. Battering Ram just paste the birdies. I increase the Horn of Gondor, which is nice. Southern Mercenaries behind me here, which is good. So I get additional attack there. And that gets done against undefended against the Citadel. So having this Citadel here is a bit of a buffer for this amount of enemies you've got early on. However, I'm choosing the fact that I will be losing quests out of the you have to be doing these quests now. So you can see here very quickly, we are taking the long path in this scenario, hence the video length as well. So Faramir and Legolas are going to shoot together, and he gets +1, which helps there, which puts progress on the quest, and also you're all right there. So the 2, and then damage gets done to the quest as well. That was undefended on the right hand side, which is fine. It's something that I didn't read the card. It's one thing to take away from this session is, and I think if you read the cardboard of the Rings Discord, reading the cards are important. Reading the entire card is important. So we'll go again. I get a Song of Travel, and I get a Spear of Citadel. Now, I play Song of Travel wrong this game. I put it on Elrond when he has his ring, and his ring grants him access to spirit. I should have placed it on Faramir. It doesn't change the outcome of the game. I just make it damn harder for myself. All right, so I got the Winged Guardian's ideal here. The Winged Guardian will be in place for, shield. And if you defend, you got to pay to keep him or he goes away. Now, he's not defending. He's questing for me with Siege. So it's fantastic. Having 2 or 3 of these takes the pressure off committing Beregond, where I want him defending. But I still have the buffer of undefended attacks going against the Citadel. So accepting my fate and accepting the fact that I'm going to progress that way, I can deal with it there. So we drew a treachery there that saw us into that, and then we draw 1 more, and away we go. All right, new round there. Oh no, this is where we draw the card. Sorry, and we count the value. Yeah, so I make 1 progress, which is what it is. Like the fact is, we're just got to buy time for the board state. I need to get rid of that Orc Vanguard without drawing more enemies. The Orc Vanguard is scary as it is. I need to get rid of the Orc Vanguard, at least out of the staging area. Engage it, chump it, and deal with that. Then I can play my cards and resources in my hand. So we'll get another about a round or 2, I think, from memory before we even get my lore deck online. So you can see here I'm in the pit of sadness, and so we're going to go here. Elrond's defending this one here, and you can see here Elrond's taken that one there. So it was 2 plus I believe the shadow effect on that one there against Orc Vanguard. is, what are we looking at here? Orc Vanguard is still the no, it wasn't Orc Vanguard. It was War Party, wasn't it? The War Camp. So the War Camp, I think, even just attacking it damage. Attacking enemy gets 1 damage for each enemy to it, right? Which is fine. So we kill the enemy there. We progress, which is nice. We progress enough as well, and then immediately takes effect, right? Which is draw an additional a card for each encounter phase in 2A, which is not too bad. It's reinforcements. So the idea is like you can approach this where you just clear the locations hard and get to the end, or you just slog through it. And I think for those watching along, this came out as one of the hardest quests in the game at the given time, right? And it's tricky because the card pool is limited. In later decks, you can just power through this in different ways. There are ways to deal with this. And Fantasy Flight moves away from this, game-ending cards where it's so violently drastic and black and white. Whereas now the game, as the later quests evolve, becomes more, yes, the spiral of doom will happen. However, it's not just so sudden and shocking where it's like, draw 1 card, you lose game. All right, so I play Defender of Ramas. Gives me another 4. Gives me another chump blocker there. Get some Arbalest out and some Haradrim Elite. So it's 3 in the staging area. And I draw an extra card because of the Haradrim Elite attack from the staging area. Cool. Power of Mordor's there, and it whiffs. So Haradrim Elite was defended against Denethor, and Denethor used Burning Brand to cancel a shadow card. So Haradrim Elite attacks from the staging area, which is okay, cool. I'm choosing to optionally engage on the left-hand side, the Vanguard there, and deal with them that way. The archery damage, I'm putting 1 damage on Denethor, 1 damage on Gimli. So Gimli's at 8 out of 9. I take the Haradrim Elite on one side, and everything comes out to the left player anyway because of the, it doesn't matter if I optionally engage. Option engage is a higher threat, and the other 2 are all going to come out. So I'm dealing here with the Orc Vanguard, who's just going to paste my Defender of Ramas. That's fine. But now I can spend things in my lore side. If I can survive this attack, even if I draw these Surge Chains here, I'm dealing with things going, that's fine. We're losing my birds. I wish I had the Eagle of the Misty Mountains so they could take the Eagle cards and lay them underneath for stat boosts. Well, actually, here I'm a goose because I've just chump blocked 2 Eagles and not realised I could have put those cards underneath that Eagle of the Misty Mountain. Right? I could have, a Vassal of the Wind Lord and the Wind Guardian could have gone underneath that. Anyway. I'm nervous. I'm excited. I'm making progress, but I'm not. So I'm freaking out a bit here. So the Orc Vanguard, we can destroy with Gimli. Legolas attacks the Arbalest, and away we go. Faramir was exhausted from the previous quest. Now that the lore deck can use their cards, it's time to get things out. Gildor's Council lets me reduce 1 less card during the quest phase. You can see that there. You need to require all players of lore, and needs to be, you use 3, right? So it's a bit harder to pull off, but we're going to do this. All right, so I can see here I've got another Defender of Ramas there. I also have all of the cards that I haven't been playing on this side here. So you can see my pool 655. So Vilya goes out. I pulled up 1 earlier. Fantastic. Now, spend that across the other pools, which then gives me choices about what I want to play. I play the Song of Travel on him, and I didn't read Vilya closely. It was attached to Elrond. This hero gains the Spirit resource icon. I could have played on Denethor and had access to more Spirit, but I'm not Spirit tapped at least, right? Light of Valinor goes on, so when he quests for his 3 shield or 3 Spirit, I don't exhaust him, which means if I get Unexpected Courage on him, like I do now, I can tap the ring, exhaust the ring and Elrond, Unexpected Courage to ready up Elrond, to then quest, then defend or attack. So you can see how he becomes quite strong pretty quickly. These rings are pretty powerful, and this archetype is very strong. Imladra Stargazer comes out for 2. She lets you look at the top 5 cards of your deck and place them back in any order, right? And so it becomes this, I can pick the card I want from my top 5 to ensure that Elrond can play it, because Elrond's Vilya effect is exhaust Elrond and exhaust failure to reveal a top card of your deck. You can immediately put it in play, and if you can't play it, or for no cost, and if you can't play it, put it on the bottom of your deck. Right. So all of a sudden, you can put your Gandalf out for free, your expensive Beorn out for free. Expensive cards can come out for free. If you know what's coming, you can deterministically game it, right? Which is really cool. This is where I also realized the previous one that died could go underneath, right? So I put that one underneath. Cool. So I'm going to play another Eagle in Misty Mountains and a Defender of Ramas. So, all right. So I've got a bit of board state and a bit of control here. I don't have as much as I want, but you get one attack and one defense on the Eagle of Misty Mountains, which is handy. And if things get chump blocking and they're eagles, I can build up a super eagle. Yeah, right. And so Enlarger Stargazer plays here. Draw out 5 cards. You get a gist of this pretty quickly. I can go, cool. I wouldn't ask for Haldir was there, but that's okay. Oh, I can play one of these cards for free, which I'm not spending resources, right? So what do I want to play? Now I think I would play Haldir if I didn't pay for Haldir. What I should have done is put it out and then done it in the resource in the planning phase, but that's okay. So I've put them together in a certain order, which means when I play Exhaust Vilya, and I'll put one onto, well, it's the wrong one. I should put that onto the Aspect of Courage, so I can play the Athelian Tracker for free. An Athelian Tracker, it lets me exhaust him for the next enemy that comes in the staging area. It loses its threat value to it. So which helps me if I need a quest through something. Now there's 5 quest points on this. And this is normal questing. This is a spirit questing. So I need a quest with my spirit. So therefore I'm not sending the other normal things there. So I've got, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And depending on who I send, right? It's one of those ones where it's like I'm not using siege anymore. I could easily crush this stage with siege. So going from siege to normal back to siege it becomes tricky. All right. So 2, 3. Oh, this is where I played. That's right. This is where I played Gildor's Council, which means I'm drawing one less, one less card from the encounter deck, which is great. I still have to draw 2 though, because I'm drawing 3. Oh no, yeah, that's right. I'm drawing 3. Orc Vanguard comes out, so it just locks down my entire hand of spending resources, which is less than ideal. I still can, however, play Vilya because I'm not spending resources, right? So we're questing for 7 against 3. We make 4 progress, right? Which is nice. Cool. So if I find the number 4, 6. Sorry, we're already on 2, and it's of 7, right? So I think it's 7 anyway, or maybe it's 8. And so okay, or Arbalast comes out. These will engage. The Orc Vanguard will engage too, but I have 2 on my left-hand side as well. So this is the good part here. I'm out of shadow cards. This is a really good thing. So there's no shadow cards or no encounter cards left in the deck. You don't reshuffle this only for staging. So this means I know exactly what those Arbalasts are going to attack for. I know exactly what the Haradrim Elite are going to attack for, and I don't need to worry. And if this shadow chain happens, where it's I draw 2 extra cards, right? Or I have to deal with that. So here, this is a 4 icon that was on Elrond before. The exhaust icon should be on Unexpected Courage, and now I defend with Elrond, right? It becomes one of those things where it's he's finally takes a damage there, and I'll update that. It doesn't change the outcome of the game, thankfully. Elrond only takes 2 damage for the game. And then here, Defender Ramas takes on Arbalast, knowing full well what the damage will be, and then Beregond will take the damage directly, and knowing exactly what these are going to be in damage points of view means I don't have to worry. So that's the archery goes on, which should have already happened. But knowing I can defend for a specific amount and knowing that they're only going to hit me for 1 or hit me for 3 becomes a bit more manageable. The challenge is when this surges and you go, I've got 4 defense, and they hit you for 9. This is challenging, right? So that's all well and good there. We did defend that there and take no damage. Like that's really what's about. Like Beregond defending the Haradrim Elite before is super. And here I can between Gimli attacking back Gimli just pasting people, right? Becomes really handy. So here, Faramir and Legolas can attack together. And the two archers line them up, and goodbye. There's a Rivendell Blade somewhere in this deck, and the idea here is that -2 on armor makes those bigger people even weaker, right? Having -2 on armor is just so nice. All right, so make 2 more progress. It's 9 progress we've got to make, and we'll just go around once again. Now, given the Vanguard is in the area, we're in that play spot now of where I can't play any cards out of the lore deck, right? This is where I've also didn't count my numbers right. So this is where I'm like, this is where I'm like, oh, hang on. I needed to count this up. So if I was counting properly, I would have made 1 more progress potentially, right? Anyway, there's a lot of things happening. I think I'm a father of 3, so sometimes when I play, I'm very tired. There's Master of the Forge, right? And there's Eagles Are Coming. So Eagles Are Coming are handy because if you have a bit of resources and you play Eagles Are Coming for free, you can potentially draw up 2 or 3 eagles, depending on what your deck distribution's like. And all of a sudden, you've got a lot of eagles there. Now's the concerning moment where we draw up a reshuffle the encounter deck. Now, reshuffle the encounter deck is okay. However, there are some spicy cards in this deck, and you can be concerned because, well, rightly so, there is the Power of Mordor, the Voice of Mordor, all of those cards that make life tricky. So here's my 5. I draw up. I found some eagles, and you shuffle your deck, right? Which is, again, handy to get some eagles out. Not as many as I would have liked, but hey, that's all right. Sometimes you can pick up 3 or 4, and it's handy, but I'll just pay for the 1 now. I won't be greedy. I'll take anything at the moment. This quest is punishing at the best of times, and I want to be fully armed against it, so let's see. All right. I can't play anything again because of Vanguard, and it's okay. If I can survive my hand intact, we're okay. If I lose my hand, it's going to be challenging. So you can see here, again, I get another Haldir, which is not great. Oh, he's already in the top 5. I knew what the top 5 would have been, right? So sometimes if you plan ahead with card draw as well, you can pick you can reset your next turn up with Stargazer, which is handy. Or you can do it in the refresh phase. You can use the action window there to set your hand up, right? So you get to draw 1 card for free, playing a cheaper one, then put the expensive one in the second slot. Anywho, I do this and I play a very timely Galadrim's Greeting. Now, this lets me reduce it play for free and reduce my threat by 6 back to 34. I wish I had a second one. And in about 20 minutes time, towards the end of the video, you will see why. 1, I do a silly dance. But 2, why this game is so amazing. All right. So let's see what we can do here. Because we've got a board state in front of us that lets us attack. Let's figure out what we're going to quest for first. You can see here that I'm going to hopefully quest for enough to pass it without committing everything. I don't know what 3A's got in store for me if I have to draw any cards up. So I'm going to use the tracker here to reduce by the threat value the next enemy in the staging area. I'm going to commit Henmarth, Haldir. I'm going to commit some of the birds, so they're +2. Oh, that's right. I did before. I was thinking, defense with siege questing, +1 defense, but it's not. It doesn't add to spirit, right? So I'm doing that there. I'm going to add the other. This is where I'm an R a bit because, this is the choice you got to make with this game. Okay, so he doesn't count his threat, but I add it anyway. I'm a goose. Technically, we've smashed this here. Now, the Master's Malice comes out, and this card here, I have to pick a sphere. Player 2 picks Law. Player 1 picks Tactics. Imladra Stargazer is gone, which is a shame because she gives me manipulation of the deck. And I don't think I see another one for the whole game, which is those other 2 must be at the bottom of the deck, right? Okay, that's fine. Technically, this is 3 versus 10, but I passed the quest anyway, right? So, breakthrough at the approach, and the battle goes off. Quest battle. quest. Now I'm using attack to quest instead of spirit. So I've gone sieging, I have gone spirit, and now I am going attacking or battle questing. Time to engage the Vanguard here. Yeah, so Vanguard's going to come in. Defender of Ramas or the Vassal or Winglord will take it. And I think if I use the Vassal or Winglord, I can buff up the Eagle of the Misty Mountain. So it's not a negative thing. It's not a bad thing here. But it would defend here. I'm going to defend with Denethor. I don't know why I'm doing this player first, but hey, anyway. Defend with Denethor. He's going to use his Burning Brand against this here for 5. And I can use that to cancel a bonus damage. So it does damage to the banks normally. Otherwise it's +2, which means it goes back to 3, which means Denethor just takes it. Handy there. So here I can defend with Elrond. And this is where the second Burning Brand would have been ideal from the hand. But now I've got to draw additional cards here. But I'm going to use Hasty Stroke. And that's going to cancel the Shadow card. Which means it cancels draw additional 2 additional cards. Hasty Stroke. Saved Elrond potentially there because I reckon the next 2 or 3 would have been pretty spicy. Orc Arsonist comes out and I draw that there. So this is against my eagle and it's just going to utterly obliterate into a ball of feathers. Right, that's okay. Goes on there, so it's +2 attack and 2 defense now on that Eagle of the Misty Mountains. Right, given I have 2 in play, I believe I have choice of where I place that card. I could have 2 with +1 or 1 with +2, right? So it's a nice thing to do there. Especially if you have 3 of them out and you get those cheap eagles through. Lets you buff them quite nicely. Legolas and Faramir are going to join together and attack again for 5 and get rid of the Arsonist. Because that's the scarier one. Because when he attacks for each shadow card, he gets +2. And so, yeah, it's... Oh, no, I beg your pardon. It's when he engages a shadow, but he hits harder. This is my logic. He hits for 3, whereas the Orc Rabble is 1, and I could potentially need a shadow card with a Burning Brand and just take on the Rabble by myself. That was the logic. Anyway, so bump up next round. Let's go again. And we're working our way slowly through this scenario. I feel we're in a good spot, and this is where I think one of the nights I end my play session, because I record at night time, and sometimes it's late before I start, and I want to go to bed. So you'll see, I think, a colour change shortly. And I draw the Rivendell Blade and the Master of the Forge. Now, Rivendell Blade is going straight onto Legolas, because now he essentially hits for +2, because he negates 2 armour. And for some, this is really good. So it means when Faramir joins in, it becomes all of a sudden they're hitting for 5 plus -2 on the armor, which also means that the things like the Rabble go down quicker. It's really handy there. Or if he joins in with other melee on one side as a ranged attack, it helps neuter that, which is it's just really good all around, right? Put a Burning Brand on Elrond, and spoiler alert, I defend with Elrond and don't use it. Oh, it makes the game harder for myself. I swear, I reckon the listeners on this will empathise with me about when we make the game harder for ourselves, like not reading the cards. The key takeaway for this quest is all, if you watch the first 5 minutes, is that you can take undefended attacks against the battlegrounds in this scenario, which is really handy. I'm going to put Erebor Hammersmith out. I look through my deck and there's no attachments in my deck, in my discard pile. And that's okay. He just gets me out for like a stat line of 1/1/1, right? He's nice, 3 health. He and the tracker can be archery soaks, right? Which is ideal. It's just handy there. So let's play the we'll get clear one out. So I tapped what's him called there? Vilya there to get clear one up to then draw a card and commit them to the quest. So I'm questing for 10. 12. Alright, let's see how we go here. See, there's the Master's Malice again. It feels like it comes up every turn. However, technically that's a whiff. Right. Now, this card here, Southern Support. Doomed 3. When revealed, we're going to reveal a Harad enemy each. So each player reveals it. Go search the discard and counter deck for a Harad enemy, right? Which is, yeah. So I think what I want here is Southern Mercenaries. Even though I deal archery, I can spread that out across all my heroes. And let's get these Southern Mercenaries out. I think it is the best option here, because this will give me archery 4 to deal with, but I have the vassals of the wind, like the eagles of the Misty Mountains, to deal with. They got 4 health each. I have the Ithilien Ranger, Erebor Hammersmith, Gleowen. I have Haldir with another Haldir in hand. So I can afford to place that damage around. So it's not the worst treachery, but that Southern Support is insane. 3 doomed is hard when I'm rapidly hitting up. 42, right? It's getting close. Anywho, let's make the quest points here. We're on 3B. We're going to zoom through this here. There's 5 on the card. 7, sorry. And 4 is 5 quest points. So not a lot of quest points we need to do. Right. So we quest through here successfully. That's not too bad. So we're questing for 11 and we do 5. All right. So we make it through there. We are now going to be questing with our siege again. So we're battle questing. So orc scramblers have infiltrated the island and climbed over the walls. They have fought through the western gate, and the gate has fallen. Now a new host of enemies were lying in wait for breaching the citadel itself. So we're sieging again, just fine. The thing here is with 5 quest points is that breakthrough at the citadel adds 5 shadow to the staging area. So we're going to flank it back at 5. That's okay. All right, so we're going to do this damage and spread out the archery damage around. Yeah, put them on the birds. Put them on Haldir. Right. I'm spreading out here. I put this on the most likely I'm going to chump block with the Eagle and Misty Mountain on the left there, and therefore buff the one with the 2 cards underneath it already. So I thought I'll put the damage on that one, which is handy. And I'm going to engage those, given that the first player on the right there, so we'll see the 2 others come down. All right, and we deal with them. Beautiful. So let's draw up our shadow cards, highest to lowest per player. And I have Elrond to defend here. Beregond could do Sentinel if need be. So I just forget the ordering. I realised there's a third enemy on the right hand side there. Now I have Denethor with Burning Brand. I have Elrond with Burning Brand. I can chump with the Ithilien Tracker if need be. I have Sentinel from Beregond, and I have the Defender of Ramas. So I've got coverage from my left hand deck into my right hand deck. And Elrond being a 13 cost hero with 3 defense is nice. Being able to ready him up with Unexpected Courage, having Light of Valinor on him, so he doesn't have to worry about exhausting during the quest phase, and away we go. So I'm defending that there with the Ithilien Tracker. So the Rabble gets +2, and that goes 3. That goes away. That's 1 extra point for the Horn of Gondor. Burr, burr, burr. And then Elrond's going to defend this one here. And this is where I think, from memory, I don't use Burning Brand here. I'm like, what am I doing? So I just take this with extra damage, right? So 2 + 1, 3. It doesn't go through though, but I could have even cancelled it. And, anyway, it doesn't matter. It doesn't change the gameplay state here. But I just forget that I've got these great tools to use. And here I'm defending Beregond, so 5 into his 4, plus the 1 extra damage, so he takes 2 damage there. 1 damage, sorry. And then it's just one of those things where, like, I Defender of Ramas now. I changed play sessions here too, by the way. This goes to a different night. I've played this session like 9 times. I was getting late. I had a good feeling about this one, so we're going to keep going. So that was defended there by Ramas, and they did 4 damage against it, which is nice, not to have to lose him there. And here the ranger and was it Legolas or Gimli can attack there, and Gimli just wipes the floor. Done, dead. No, he's hitting for 10 damage, right? So 8 from his health plus the 2. Like, he's big. We could put another armor plate on him and make him bigger, potentially. Oh, it's limited 1 to hero, I think. Oh, no, so that's restricted. So you could have another one if we wanted to. Right, so then Legolas is going to attack into the LCG. He gets -2 against the target's defense, which means that he can almost one-shot that Southern Archer, but because Beregond defended and did damage from Spear of the Citadel, bang, he's gone, which is super, which leaves the Orc ambushes and the Orc rabble up the top there. I'll make sure I add the 2 progress on the stage here. Now, don't you wish I had an unexpected courage on Legolas, right? He could join in for another attack. However, he doesn't. But you can see here you could build Legolas into a sniping machine in that regard. It's a very common approach using things like Haldir. Right. All right, let's go to a new round here. We've dealt with defending all of those attacks. We're through. All right, so let's manipulate our decks, right? Let's play our cards and manipulate our decks. So we're going to clean up a bit. Now, I don't have any way to peek at the deck anymore. So at the moment, I have to just play Vilya, and that's okay. I play Vilya with a gamble, just to play it and go from here. And so what I do is I'm able to play Vilya and go, okay, if I'll exhaust it, just draw. And if it's something I can use, it's great. And I put up an unexpected courage, fantastic. Right, I just was speaking about it moments ago. So this is the exact way, like, if that was with the Imladra Stargazer, I could just manipulate the top 5. I was YOLOing then, which is, you only live once, just doing it. Worst case is I draw up a test of will and I can't use it, right? Which is a bit of a waste, but because I have UE on Elrond already, he can ready back up, which makes it a bit more palatable, right? Cool. I do that. I exhaust Gleowin to pay for a card. There's my first healer of the game. Golly. So I burn 2 out of that to pay for the healer, and that then lets me tap him, and it means I can heal for 1 damage on 2 targets. But Elrond increases each healing effect by 1, which means now I can heal 2 on those specific targets. Which just means I take the extra one off Beregond and extra one off Faramir, which is nice. Thank you just for being a passive buff from Elrond, right? See, after a character is healed by another card effect, heal 1 additional health, which is nice. So you could use 2 or 3 of those to cover off things like archery. There's later scenarios, the Jordan Forest and others, where archery becomes a big thing. We need to combat that. You may see this deck appear again. I think I might take the Elrond deck around again for play. So I'll pay there for the Master of the Forge go out. So I've got those cards there. And then on my left hand, I'll play and get the Gondorian Spearman out. Good old staple. I think I like the Defender of Ramas for the 2 points, just because it hits harder. Though you can put, if you have it in your hand, and I've got it over there, that Spear of the Citadel, you can put it onto Gondorian Spearman. I put on the Ramas here because he's defending with a higher value. However, what's cool is, if I put it onto Spearman, it's 2 damage on a defense, but he's only got 1 defense and 2 health, right? Whereas Ramas has 4 defense, can take more chump blocks that in this scenario harder with the surge chains, and do damage. And sometimes if they've been damaged already, or you're doing 2 damage from a defense, you can start whittling away these enemies that are coming out every round. So I have good board state in my opinion, especially with Sentinel, right? I could use it against the other side. However, I think we're in a good spot here. So I've used Headmarth Riversong here to look at the top card of the deck to sort of gauge how heavily I need a quest. Given it's a 5-point quest, attacking, it's 5 base plus whatever comes out. I need to make sure what I commit to here is enough. And I remember we are attacking here, so let's use the birds. We'll make sure that we can use things that can ready up potentially. So Elrond's in. I put my exhaustion token on the Light of Valinor. And then we can start to look at questions. Like, I could use Gimli here, right? However, I'm concerned with my high threat that everything that comes out will come to that player, right? The token here says it's going to come out, and so yeah, it's not good in that regard. Oh, siege questing. Sorry, we're not attacking questing. We're siege questing. So yeah, in those attack quests, if you're doing battle questing, things like Gimli like that would be great. One person. He's got to watch for treacheries that remove someone from the current quest. All right, so out comes Haradrim Elite. They make their attack. Right, that's fine. Making the attack's no issue. So we draw that out. It's going to. I'm just counting out my numbers here, right, to make sure that I pass. And I'm getting that moment in my head of going, have I got enough done? And I have done all my tricks. I've done everything I need to do. Time to put up my tokens, right? So I know that the Haradrim Elite's the top card, so I haven't technically drawn it from the deck. Even though I've pulled out of the deck, I haven't drawn it, so I still committed a card there for those watching very closely. Because I knew what type the card was, I added Haldir to the deck, to the commitment of this quest. Draw it into the extra card as required. So draw the Elite, which attacks. The Vanguard is at Shadow. The Vanguard says draw 2 extra. I draw 2 more cards from that deployment, and you can see there I have a 3-card Shadow Chain. You can see very quickly how dangerous that gets. So I resolve that once it came to the staging area. That's fine there. All right. So looking at this here, I lost a character. So I lost the 2 defenders there because I got to attack again. So it did 2 attacks when it revealed, and when the shadow says it attacks again. So I lost my 2 defenders, the Ramas, and I lost Gondorian Spearman. However, I should have put damage onto the Haradrim Elite there. Yeah, and then my second card comes out, which is Orc Ambusher, which gets Archery 2. I don't put the damage on the Haradrim Elite, and it doesn't change it, but we're into the final phase. 5B. It's a siege, 15 points. You quest using your shield. And the big thing about 5B is that when revealed, we will reveal 1 player to the encounter card and add to the staging area. If you've collected 4 or more victory points, it loses battle, gains battle and loses siege when he's attacking. Right, so it wouldn't matter too much. But the flavor text reads on 5A: the defenders of Cair Andros have survived the brunt upon brunt of the enemy's assault, but the outcome of the battle still hangs on the edge of a knife. One last heroic effort is required to save the fortress and win victory. And that victory is going to be short-lived, I suspect, with the Lieutenant of Mordor, 33252. And that Lieutenant of Mordor is nasty, because what it does is, when revealed, resolve the when revealed effect of the topmost treachery card in the discard pile. If able, this effect cannot be cancelled. Now, it made me draw, or I've got to resolve the Scourge of Mordor first, which adds 2 cards on the top of the deck of my play deck to the threat value here, and I managed to succeed by 1. Now we go back and resolve the when revealed effect of the Lieutenant of Mordor. And that effect is going to be interesting. I've got to go through my discard pile and find exactly what's waiting for me. Right. So here I've just taken a moment I'm getting nervous. I'm doing the math in my head, looking at my threat. And the last one in our discard pile, cool, it's the Master's Malice. That whiffs. That doesn't apply here because we can easily say law and tactics, respectively, and there's no allies in play. There's nothing to take damage, so we're clear. So I'm getting nervous again of flashbacks when I'm recording. So you can see here, we are entering the final push. Now, I have 43 threat and something. I think it's 39. So we're in this phase where, depending on the shadow cards in the deck and the thinning deck, we could do this. There is a Southern support around, which does Doom 3, and that's the biggest concern to me right now. Right? So I'm going to optionally engage the Lieutenant of Mordor on the right, and then by default, the first player is going to cop the rest, which is the Ambushers and the Haradrim Elite. I remember to put 1 damage onto Haradrim Elite from Beregond defending the attack previously, and I put the archery damage onto my eagles. I draw up my shadow cards, and we deal. They're going to be pointing to the order. So done in player order, then done from highest to lowest. Elrond's going to defend here. So we've got a whiff of a card, I believe. It's hitting for 5. And I use Burning Brand to cancel a shadow. So I know that defending with Elrond means I take 2 damage. Not the additional 2 that was on that card. Which is okay. This is where you can use multiple unexpected courages to have a good defender. I didn't want to piss against Denethor, but Denethor's going to do the same thing. I'm defending here against the Master of the Forge, and does 2 damage. It's there, so it kills Master of the Forge. Lets me get a Horn of Gondor resource, which is just pumping up that tactics deck, paying for eagles, which is great. And the Orc Ambush is going to attack, and it's going to be against Denethor. Denethor's going to use Burning Brand if he needs to, if it's a 6, yeah, which he does. Cool, and I take the 3 damage, and he's fine. Which leaves the left side to resolve, and I've got here the riskiest move I do in the entire game. Here is, this is the round I will take an undefended attack against Legolas with the archers. And that here has resulted in me taking 2 damage. Because I only do 1 by default. He's taken that 2. Oh, he defended it. Sorry, he defended it because he had 1. Right, so he had 1 damage on him, and he defended. Right. Now I ready him up with Unexpected Courage. Now he can only attack once his turn now, however, and then the other attack against Haradrim Elite goes against the Eagles of the Misty Mountains, which means the card goes underneath the other Eagle of Misty Mountain, who's now got a +3 bonus to his attack and defense, which is super. So he's hitting for 5 and defending for 5. Now, this has put my conundrum in play of Legolas here. Legolas was going to double attack here. However, I have -2 on my thing, so I can help Haldir out. So Haldir and Legolas are going to attack. And so the -2 from the blade removes the armor from the Lieutenant of Mordor, which means the 3 damage and the 2 damage from Faramir is the 5 needed to destroy the now negated armor on the Lieutenant of Mordor and kill him, which is nice. And he goes to the victory display. So this is good because, one, this is the only thing in my victory display because I failed on the battleground quests. But also, I now have him locked away, which is great. And I make a couple of progress, 2 progress, not 12, Berkey, on that there. I'm going to have Gimli paste the Haradrim Elite here because I don't want to deal with something that hits for 3 at a minimum. They hit hard, right? I can deal with archery, extra damage across my characters. I have the Warden of Healing. I can spend 2 additional lore resources to ready him, so I can heal up to 8 a turn, because of Elrond buffing the 2 1-point heals into 2 2-point heals, then refreshing him and doing it again. So the Scramblers here, I don't have enough to hurt them. I've got the Hammersmith doing 1-1-1, right? I can't do anything here to help. So he's just going to sit there and I can't even hit across anything. I'm just counting up what I've got here and the next turn. Is this here? I've got to figure out. I'm getting nervous because this is moments away from the final. I feel like I'm losing control of the battle. I feel like I know that there's threat increasing and away we go. So let's ready everything up. I'm getting nervous again talking about it. This is one of those game-defining scenarios where it is remembered by everyone as a great quest or a hard quest or a challenging quest, or the community rating's 4 but it's actually a 10, right? This quest is bonkers. So, and I'm using cards from this cycle, so I'm using cards from packs in this same cycle, but were released ahead of this pack itself. So you didn't get to have Gondorian Shield and those sort of things there. We'll drop a Eagle of the Misty Mountains. Oh, sorry, the Eagles are coming and a Forest Snare. Now, the Snare, I was designed for like the Lieutenant of Mordor when he was out. I could put him in there if I think he can take attachments. But if he can't, someone else who's bigger. Allies can't defend against the Lieutenant of Mordor, and along with the fact that that's what influenced my optional engagement before. However, I get Land Roval and another Eagle of the Misty Mountain here and a Winged Guardian, right? So it's just like I got a fistful of three, and it's, of the top five before you shuffle your deck. There's the three. Now I can pay for all of this because of the allies previously leaving, thanks to Horn of Gondor, right? Which is great. So we can see here that I placed them out and paid for them all, which is good. So the character is destroyed. So, and I get those points. I can pay for Land Roval, I can pay for Winged Guardian, and I can pay for Eagle of the Misty Mountains, right? So now I have, all of a sudden, a lot of birds, which is great, because I can, some of them have questing. You can see there 4 on Winged Guardian, 2 on Eagle of the Misty Mountain. Land Roval. Right, here we go. So let's pull up a card. What's it going to be? Okay, this is Gandalf. So you can see here, I've made an audible noise here, and I'm in an open office. So my wife looked at me with this most puzzling face. I'm like, you don't understand. And in my head, it's like, a wizard is never late. He comes precisely when he needs to. Like, is all what's thinking into my head. So I do the I've got now added his excitement here, even when we're recording. Gleowen, draw a card. I've got Gandalf there, which means he can help me quest, and I'm going for an all-in quest here. Now, I think I can quest for enough without Gandalf, but I'm hoping he makes a difference. Like, if he falls into it, it's a clutch of Vilya. If we can exceed it by more than 4, it's I had enough to do it. So I'm going all in. Everything. Birds, men, elves, and dwarves. We are just absolutely getting the last bit of Cair Andros done. Everything's on the line. Mordor is emptying. There's arrows firing. We are in it. So we already have the orc scramblers in the staging area, right? And they're actually staging. They're against me here. So here's another orc scrambler, which means it sieges. And here it surges, into the power of Mordor. Now the power of Mordor is a card that's Doom 3. When revealed, count the number of cards in the staging area and shuffle them into the encounter deck. Reveal an equal number of cards from the encounter deck and add them to the staging area. This effect cannot be cancelled. So I am now on 47 threat. If I shuffle into my very thin remaining deck of like 6 or 7 cards, this here, what's going to happen? I'm going to shuffle it in, count the cards, shuffle it in. So you can see there's 6 cards. If I draw this same one again, I lose. There is no ifs, ands, or buts. There's no cancellation. There's no magic tricks here. I lose over an hour of playing. So let's do it again. Let's show it what it is. 1. We've done it into the Scourge of Mordor. Let's resolve the Scourge of Mordor. Okay, we've got to see how much progress is here. No doomed here. That's 9. So 6 plus 3, Beyond, Bear, and Forest Nest. So 9 plus the Rabble means it's 14 versus 34. That's 20. We've made it with more than 5, and we did it without Gandalf, but Gandalf helped as well. Holy bazinga. Okay. So there is literally 3 cards left in that hand there, and the last battle is done. We have won. We've held off the battle of Cair Andros here. The last little troopers there hold on, and this was one of those scenarios where it challenges you. This game is hard. This game is fun. I feel like the fairness balances off in later scenarios. I mentioned this before. There are some cards that are unfair in this deck, in this cycle. We'll see them again. But thanks for joining me on this 1-hour expedition. It was awesome. It was fun. I'm glad we got there. Check the deck lists out. And now we will be following this one up with the Stewards Fear, the first adventure pack in the Against the Shadow cycle. See you next week.